Hey everybody, it's GobletX, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be playing a draft of the brand new January 2024 Arena Cube. Without further ado, let's get into the Pack 1 Pick 1. As always with Cube, there's going to be tons of incredibly powerful options, and you can really go for whatever kind of strategy you want each draft. I think that taking just premium, cheap, efficient cards like removal spells, like Ossification, is still a pretty good start because that does lead you open to using this in an aggro deck or a control deck or really any kind of thing. So I'm just going to start with the Ossification here, kind of go for whatever strikes my fancy as things progress. And yeah, we'll start pretty open for the first draft because I don't really have a strategy in mind. If you did, you could definitely just insta-hop onto like blue-white control with this Teferi, or some kind of red aggro deck with Shivan Devastator or Bonehorde Dratkasaur. There's a lot of good options here, as always in Cube, but we'll start with Ossification and stay a little open. Pack 1 pick number 2, we've got a Knight of Autumn, which is going to tie us to green-white, but it is flexible with its Enter the Battlefield effect there. We've also got a Braid, Go for the Throat, Vraska's Contempt, lots of pretty good removal here. There's an Ornithopter of Paradise, which is great fixing, great ramp. Not too many 2-mana rocks in this cube, so Ornithopter's a pretty nice pick. Got some pretty nasty green spells with Workshop Warchief and Titan of Industry. Obviously, I could talk about basically every card in every pack. I think I like rolling with maybe Ornithopter. Like, it's pretty solid to ramp up into 4-drops in basically any mid-range or control deck. Like, unless we're aggro, Ornithopter should be pretty helpful, so pick that up here. It's kind of the least replaceable of all those cards as well. There's plenty of great threats, plenty of removal. There's much less when it comes to the good mana rocks, like the Iron Crag here. Being colorless mana only does make it a bit weaker than the Ornithopter. Does still skip you over your 3-mana plays, though. Skips you right up to 4 mana on turn 3, which is kind of exciting. But there's also Wooded Foothills here, and basically all of the fetch lands are super high picks, because as long as you draft a couple dual lands that have basic land types like shock lands such as Watery Grave, you can turn your Wooded Foothills style fetch lands into basically whatever colors you need. You could crack this to get like a red-white dual land or a green-blue dual land. It's really easy to get this to be almost any color, so I'm going to grab Wooded Foothills really highly here. Overcut for the best efficient removal spell. Iron Crag for another ramp spell, and several nice mid-range threats. Plenty of those to go around in the cube. Pick number 4, we've got Portable Hole for more cheap removal. We've got Windswept Heath for another fetch land here. We're just going to take another fetch, honestly. There's a Courser, Quintorius. Again, I'm probably going to stop mentioning every single card, because every single card is quite frequently a viable option. But I'm going to grab more fetch lands because they are new to the cube as well, so they're kind of the new hotness. We'll show off the power of those here. So Hollowed Fountain is fetchable by the Windswept Heath, which turns Windswept Heath into immediately green, white, or blue mana, whichever we need. So that's already a huge buff on the Heath. I mean, if we take these fetch lands highly enough and just grab a bunch of shocks to go with them, we've got the Ornithopter as well. We might be able to just scoop up a ton of fixing and then take literally whatever we want in future packs. Now there's a Gilded Goose, which can be mana fixing. There's also Brazen Borrower, which is great cheap interaction with that Petty Theft Adventure, plus it is a win condition as an evasive threat, the 3/1 flyer. I actually do like Brazen Borrower enough to maybe take it over Gilded Goose. I do like our start towards a 4 or 5 color deck, though, so I'll still stick with the Goose. Now we can take Overgrown Tomb. It's another fetchable land. Now either of our fetch lands can produce a black mana, because we can grab the Overgrown Tomb because it's a forest. So now Windswept Heath and Wooded Foothills can grab 3 different colors each. Windswept Heath is at 4 colors now. It can grab green, white, blue, or black, and Wooded Foothills can grab green, red, or black. Pick number 8. This is not a fetchable dual land, so I'm less interested in that one. 1 card deep into green, 1 card deep into white. Could take Restoration of Agonjo as just the best value play in this pack in general. Basically all the sagas with all the different abilities they can do just stack up into a ton of advantage throughout the game, so I do like the restoration a lot there. Pick 9, not too much crazy here. I do like the flexibility of the Trumpeting Carnosaur where it can be a finisher, but you can also cycle it early as a removal spell if you need to. So I'll take the Carnosaur. Pick 10. Happy to see some really solid green cards still around here, since we are a little bit into green. Probably the Workshop War Chief here. Best for surviving against the cheap little aggro decks. It hits the board, you gain life, it trades off, you get another creature out of it. It's just a much more consistent card than a 7-drop like Titan of Industry, which you have to only use very late in the game. You gotta have some ramp to get there. So I'll take the War Chief there. Okay, don't love any of these cards. Iron Crag could be fine, but cards that produce a mana of any color are definitely much better. Lair of the Hydra could be okay as well. If we end up getting like a Field of the Dead, this is looking like a decent deck towards that, but I'll still take the Iron Crag for ramp. Pick 12, nothing much here. These two draw spells are both for aggressive decks, which is not what we're looking to be doing, so probably just Portable Hole. Pick 13. Nothing much here. I guess we're kind of green-white over anything else, so we'll take the Voice of Resurgence. Makes it so your opponent can't really use instants during your turn, like counterspells and stuff, without giving you a pretty good amount of advantage. Just a gigantic elemental token every time they do anything during your turn. Potentially gigantic. Depends what else you have on board. You know, Extinction Event might not be horrible. Alright, pack 2, pick 1. We have some Triomes, which are absolutely spectacular with fetch lands. We've also got Chandra, which is an incredible planeswalker. Probably my second favorite planeswalker in the cube, my favorite being Nicol Bolas, just because I'm a Bolas fan. But in terms of sheer power level and flexibility, this card's fantastic. It's a removal spell, it's a card drench, and it's mana ramp. Just so much stuff it can do. Spellbinder is on color to the green-white core of the deck and is a pretty solid card. Time Warp's one of the strongest cards in the pack, although it is double blue, which is a bit off from the colors of our spells. And there's great interaction like Lightning Strike. I think I'm just going to take whatever Triome is fetchable by both of our lands, and both of these Triomes are fetchable by both. So I'll actually go for the most off-color one and take the Rogrin Triome, because that would be the most useful to be able to pull out, since we can get green-white or green-red off of these already. But now we can get blue out of either of them, which is a pretty big deal. Pack 2, pick 2. Skyclave Apparition's great cheap interaction. Sarah Paragon is a great value play throughout the game, just recasting all your cheap stuff. Can actually play lands from your grave too, right? Ooh, Sarah Paragon's kind of the stone cold nuts with fetch lands. Keep replaying your fetch lands. When the permanent is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you exile it and gain 2 life. So you're not supposed to be able to loop your fetches forever. Gains when this permanent is put into a graveyard from the battlefield. I don't remember. I think there was some controversy about how it like didn't work how it was supposed to, and you actually could replay fetch lands with it somehow. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Either way, it's going to be good in the deck. Pick 3. Blood Crypt is fetchable. We are close enough to 5 color to just take like Atraxa here as a giant finisher. It's a pretty nuts magic card. Probably need to take a good chunk of cheap interaction before we get to any really big stuff like that, though. But we're at a decent start towards that. With green and white as the core to the deck, like Lovestruck Beast here could be some more good cheap blockers. I think we're doing alright on cheap interaction, so we can take something just crazy like Atraxa. Now we can take Rafine's Tower or Endothotrium or Field of the Dead. This looks like a real good Field of the Dead deck, and if we're lucky, we can wheel one of the fetchable lands. Probably get the Shock land over wheeling a Triome, but we'll see. Let's grab Field of the Dead here. Pick number 5, there are no fetchable lands here, which is sad, but we do have Deathrite Shaman, which is mana ramp with fetchable lands. Or with fetch lands, period. Alternatively, Lutri is a free companion. And I guess Deathrite Shaman's not that consistent when we only have 2 lands that we can sacrifice in the deck right now, just 2 fetch lands. Yeah, I'll take the free companion here, I suppose. Pick number 6, there's another Triome. There's also Mosswood Dread Knight for an incredible value play. Uro for the ramp there. Super good stuff, but now that we have Field of the Dead, I'm definitely taking a Triome, because we need to have 7 lands with different names. Yeah. So we want just like one of each basic and a ton of non-basics in this deck. Could take a Yorion and try to build a 60-card deck. That's going to be really difficult, though, when you're spending a lot of your picks on on land cards, because then you'd need to get to like 35 non-lands and your 10 lands that you've drafted or whatever, which is really hard to do, so I'll take the Sacred Foundry here. Pack 2, pick 8. Kiora's fine. Restless Prairie's fine, but we're getting enough fetchable lands that I'm going to stick to just taking those. We'll get enough to trigger Field of the Dead without taking any non-fetchable lands. Jugan defends the temple as ramp, I guess. We are trying to get to a 7 drop here. We do get a Zagoth Triome, pick 9. Pretty beautiful. Take that over Spellbinder. Pick 10, nothing much here. We could take a Magma Opus for another finisher. Timeless Witness for a solid value play. Yeah, I'll just grab a Magma Opus, because it is phony. Pick 11, we do get the Lovestruck Beast back for a 1-drop blocker and a 3-drop blocker. Pick 12, we did not get any of the lands out of this pack back, which is awkward, but we did get Seal Away for more cheap interaction, which I think is more important than another good late-game value play like Hydroid Crisis. We already have Atraxa, Opus, Carnosaur. Even cards like War Chief and Sarah Paragon are great value plays. Take the Deathrite here and see if we can get lucky and get any more fetch lands. But we'll find out. Ooh, we did! We got a Bloodstained Mire. Infinite other possibilities in this pack, plenty of powerful spells, but now that we've got a Deathrite Shaman and a Field of the Dead, and tons of fetchable lands, Bloodstained Mire really excites me. Like, if we have 7 lands on board, or if we have 6 lands on board, and then our 7th land is playing Bloodstained Mire for the turn, that's like, boom, get a zombie, crack it, grab a land, get another zombie. Super wild. Let's grab a Bloodstained Mire. Pack 3, pick 2, no fetchable lands. There's a Primeval Titan, which is really good in a Field of the Dead deck, because it can pull out that Field of the Dead and another land, spit out 2 zombies the turn you play it. Prime Time seems like an incredible top-end card for this deck. Pack 3, pick number 3. We've got a Watley, which is nice for a sort of 5-color-ish deck. We're basically green-white, splash a little bit of everything else. Watley can grab a basic for us, which is solid. Just a good value play early in the game as well. But we could also take the fetchable Temple Garden, or we could take the Avacyn's Pilgrim for ramp. Could also take Lurrus, but we don't get to get Lurrus in the companion slot. Way too late for that. Yeah, Pilgrim, Temple Garden, Watley all seem pretty good to me. How many non-lands do we have right now? 20? I need more non-lands. Let's take a Watley here. I need more actual spells in this deck. And a Tali for another finisher. There's Knight of the Reliquary. That's pretty good with Field of the Dead, and pretty good with fetch lands. This might be a dumb idea, but I think I'll take that over Atali, even though Atali's just an insane finisher. And definitely splashable for this deck. Could also take Utopia Sprawl for great early ramp. That's another huge pickup. You know what? Knight of the Reliquary. Realistically speaking, nobody in this draft pod should be more interested in Knight of the Reliquary than us. And we've taken like every fetch land we could. I don't think anybody else should really take Knight of the Reliquary. So I'm going to take Sprawl and hope to wheel Knight of the Reliquary. There's no chance that that the Atali wheels, though. Here, I think we have to take Golos, even though Swords to Plowshares is like the best, most efficient piece of interaction in the cube. We'll just run no interaction, but at least now, off of Golos, Primeval Titan, and a potential Knight of the Reliquary, we'll just have Field of the Dead every single game. So, you know, no removal, no interaction, just a Field of the Dead and a dream. Pick number 6 here. I guess we get more interaction. Grab a Maelstrom Pulse as a solid little removal spell. I think that's better than the Wolf Willow Haven for ramp. Pick 7, Mind Stone to ramp up. Once Upon a Time, actually also really nice in a Field of the Dead deck, because we can dig towards the field. We also get to cast this for free if it's in our opening hand, which is always insane. I actually like Once Upon a Time a lot here. Take it over Settle the Wreckage or Mind Stone. We are just very much a Field of the Dead combo deck. Now I'll take a Wrath of God. Let's actually get more interaction to not just die every time we play against anything moderately aggressive. Pick 9, Woodland Acolyte's a fine value play. And if something happens to Field of the Dead, we can put it back on top. We lose our 1 combo piece, so that's cute. I don't think we want Mirari's Wake. I'm not going to run that much that costs more than 5. Let's take the Acolyte. Pick 10, Wingmate Rock or Kaya. I guess Kaya's removal. Don't really need more finishers. We've got Primetime, Atraxa, Field of the Dead as finishers. Let's take Kaya for more removal. Pick 11. Not particularly excited about the non-land cards here, so I'll just grab a random non-basic, and we did get Knight of the Reliquary to come all the way back, which is going to be spectacular. Sack of Forester Plains, pull out our Field of the Dead, and with the fetch lands that we're using and Knight of the Reliquary's ability, it's going to be a beefy creature, potentially. It's another finisher, Breach the Multiverse if we need it. More exciting to me than Surgical Metamorph. I don't think I'm going to play either, though. We get to play 6 basics in this deck. We don't really want to overlap them too much. Because any hand where we have multiple forests or multiple plains, it's going to take a little longer to get Field of the Dead active. Because it is 7 lands with different types that it needs. Okay, so 47 cards right now. We get to cut 7 or 8, and then get the mana base set up. So let's see. I guess we get to cut 6 or 7, because Lutri's going to the companion slot for free. Don't think we can cut any of the cheap stuff, really. The 1-drops, the 2-drops, really none of that. Even at 3 mana, there's not much I think we can afford to cut. Maybe Jugan Defends the Temple? Maybe Woodland Acolyte? Maybe Watley? Because I'm not going to be running one of every basic, so Watley's not going to be perfect fixing. She'll still be decent, though. She's going to be a 2-for-1 when we play her, a 2-3 that draws us a land. And if we have her flipper, she's going to be even better, obviously, spitting out some dinosaur tokens, even if we're not searching our library for a dinosaur at all. But we could play the Trumpeting Carnosaur to have 1 dino to search up. I don't know. She seems like a potential cut, though. I do think we need some board wipes against quick, aggressive decks like Wrath of God, Extinction Event. We'll keep in Hostage Taker. A little less interesting to me. War Chief's pretty great. It's in our main color. Kai is easily splashable. Golos is incredible for this deck. Primetime is incredible for this deck. So Carnosaur, Breach the Multiverse, Opus are the potential cuts, because even Atrax is incredible. Digging for a land out of the top 10 is almost guaranteed to find. Field of the Dead. By the time we cast Atraxa, we're probably already 20 cards in, so that's 30 out of the 40 cards in our deck we're looking through. Plus, Atraxa kind of just wins the game. We don't need to play the field, even if we draw it off Atraxa. Because Atraxa is going to draw 4 or 5 cards a lot of the time. Because we have artifacts in here, we have creatures, we have enchantments, we have instant sorceries, and planeswalkers. And lands. Of course, every deck has lands for this card. Yeah, I think we're cutting 6 cards out of this pile. Probably mostly top end here, so cut Magma Opus, cut Breach. I kind of want to keep Carnosaur Huatli because it's adorable, which means that we cut the other 3, and then I still need to cut 1 more card. Just a little bit awkward. Because I think the 2 cards that are closest to a cut are the Carnosaur and the Huatli, and if I cut 1, I kind of want to cut both. I guess if I had to cut just 1, it would be the Carnosaur, though. I don't know, Voice of Resurgence isn't really doing much for our game plan. It is giving us an actual creature to play and trade early, which is certainly something. Maybe it's Voice of Resurgence? Yeah, sure. We'll try it out. We'll cut Voice of Resurgence and call it a deck. Well, wait a sec. Need to make sure the mana is good. It looks probably right. 2 plains, 2 forests, 1 swamp, 1 mountain, because we've got a double red card. We've got a good chunk of black cards. The only blue card in the deck is Atraxa, and I already have Hollowed Fountain, Botanical Sanctum, Spara's Headquarters, Rogran Triumph, Zagoth. Okay, we don't need any islands. Moving on from there, I guess there's the Lutri in the sideboard, but moving on from there is red cards, where there's 1 Carnosaur. That requires double red, but we've got 1, 2. Oh wow, we only have 2 red non-basics, so we do need a mountain then, so that's 3 red non-basics. There's 2 red fetch lands, which is good. That's definitely helpful. I'm pretty sure every fetch land we have can get red because of all these triomes, but that is worth noting too. So we do need the 1 mountain, and then black cards, 1 Maelstrom Pulse, 1 Extinction Event, 1 Kaya, 1 Atraxa. So 4 black cards, all that only need a single black, because Deathrite we can just cast for green. So black seems really not that difficult. We just need a single black source, and we've got 1 Overgrown Tomb, 1 Zagoth Triome, 3 fetches that can grab either black source. Might not need a swamp, but I also don't want to go too high on duplicates, and I'm already not running an island, so if I cut a swamp, it's for a 3rd forest or a 3rd plains, which is starting to get up there on duplicates towards Field of the Dead not being as consistent, potentially. What's the green-white split? 11 green cards, 9 white cards? They're both pretty important colors. How are we doing on lands for green or white? Obviously the fetch lands are perfect, but for non-basics, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 green non-basics, and 1, 2, 3, 4 white non-basics. So we're even on green and white sources, where it's 4 plus 3 fetches, it's 7 each. Probably fine. There's a little more green spells than white spells in this deck, but the white spells have double whites that are really important to hit on turn 4. Yeah, I actually think I just agree with the auto-suggester here. I think we will call it a deck here. Alright, here's a look at the final deck list for today, and we're on a 5-color Field of the Dead deck. We have tons of ways to tutor for the Field of the Dead, with Knight of the Reliquary, Golos, Tireless Pilgrim, Primeval Titan, and to a certain extent Atraxa as well. And we have tons of non-basics, so that we should be at 7 different land types every time we hit our 7th land. So Field of the Dead is the most incredible win condition in this deck, making sure every time we play a land we're also spitting out a zombie. We've got several fetch lands to play 2 lands in 1 turn towards it. So that is really a fantastic finisher for this deck. So other than that, we just have a ton of mana fixing throughout this deck to help with our 4 or 5 color sort of pile here, and a decent amount of interaction. Some cheap removal spells like Portable Hole, Ossification, Seal Away, Maelstrom Pulse as well, and then a couple board wipes like Wrath of God and Extinction Event to help stay alive. So that is the deck we're playing today. Looks like a really fun kind of 5-color ramp deck here. See how it all plays out for us as we head into the gameplay. Here we are for game 1 on the draw. Keep this hand. We've got 2 board wipes in it if we're against aggro. Turn 1 Mountain, Dragon Master, Outcast. So it could be any kind of red deck here. Drop a Deathrite, stop the Outcast from attacking here. I think that's reasonable. Just stop as much damage as possible. Deathrite doesn't look like it's going to be particularly important this game since we didn't draw any fetch lands in our opener anyway. Playing against Boros, red-white, Lion Sash is their next play, and the Deathrite Shaman holds off either of those cards, so that feels like a great start to me. I'm not going to Portable Hole either of these when I've got a board wipe coming up for sure. And this could gain me some life if I end up with any creatures in grave, I guess. What? Okay, well, we take those, I guess. The reverse board wipe from our opponent, they Into the Fire to kill my Deathrite Shaman, but also they spend 3 cards to kill my Deathrite Shaman. They spend Into the Fire and both their creatures. Pretty happy with that. Still got a board wipe coming up. I don't think I'm going to 1-for-1 Portable Hole this Devastator quite yet. We can just flash out a Lutri in the end step and start attacking back, or we can just board wipe if they play another creature. Like, I'll take a 2-for-1 at this point in the game when they're down to 3 cards in hand. They'll be down to 2 after they cast another creature. They don't cast another creature. Well, might be all removal from them? Yeah, I'm not going to sandbag Lutri for extra value, because both of these don't really do anything if we double them. I'm just going to get this out and start attacking, see if I can pull out a removal spell, so maybe if we draw something more important, which we did, maybe the Knight of the Reliquary gets to survive because they spend removal on Lutri. Oh wow, alright. Or we don't have to deal with the Carnosaur later because they spent it on Lutri. Let's probably hope for the best with Knight of the Reliquary. I guess we're really waiting until we have 7 lands on board for it to be really exciting. So I think I wait 1 more turn, just holding for Extinction Event. Or Wrath of God. But next turn we're going to run out Knight of the Reliquary so that it is not summoning sick on turn 7, and we can grab the Field of the Dead just in time. Alright, so we are going to slam down Knight of the Reliquary now, which means that we don't want to board wipe ideally, so we probably Portable Hole the Devastator as well. I guess I'll Portable Hole main phase 2, just in case our opponent gets antsy and kills the Knight of the Reliquary during combat. Because then I could just still wait. I'm at 14 life, I can take another Devastator hit. Okay, they didn't kill it when we went to combat, so we will Portable Hole the Devastator. They could still very much have removal in our end step here, but this just gave them an opportunity to, like, show it to us a little early. And then we could really know if we wanted to hold for a board wipe or not. Please stay. Knight of the Reliquary, please stay. I'm begging. No! Alright, no Field of the Dead. It's a Bloodstained Mire to thin the deck a little. I guess so. Already got 5 color easily, right? I don't actually have a red source yet, so we find a red source. And we just grab a 3 color red source. That's better than the red-white. I guess I Utopia Sprawl for a second red. We've got double blue, double white, 1 black. I don't need double black for anything this deck, though, but I do need double red, so I'll Utopia Sprawl for red. Just get the mana investment out of the way. Probably should have done that sooner, but it's fine. We might just die to a Den of the Bugbear, honestly. No, not a Tolly. That's pretty annoying. It actually hit a really good card for them. So Ossification doesn't do anything, but Showdown of the Scalds to draw 4 is so much better than them just hitting another threat, because I just Wrath both threats if that's what they get. But now they have a Devil's Play to kill me if I don't just Extinction Event the Atali. I take 7 there and then a bunch from Devil's Play. Well, this is bad. Atali is an odd mana cost. Sarah Paragon's an even. So I can do this first. And let's see. I guess I can only get 1 card from this, so I probably shouldn't spend it on Bloodstained Mire. I just wanted to see if it would work how I want it to. Yeah, we should probably just get Deathrite Shaman. Maybe start gaining life by doing that. I mean, if I get Knight of the Reliquary, I don't have time to do that because I have to exile Atali right now. Yeah, no, that's... I either pick up Bloodstained Mire or I pick up Deathrite Shaman this turn. And I think it's better to get another blocker. So let's Extinction Event Atali. So odd. Exile each creature man of chosen quality. Odd. I'm just making sure I don't misclick, because that would be game ending. If I just wipe my own board. Alright, here's Deathrite Shaman. Now we've got some blockers, and Deathrite Shaman could gain us some life. So there's Welcoming Vampire, which draws them cards when they play other creatures. If they have other creatures, they only have the 1 card in hand, whatever they top decked. Alright, Devils play the Sarah Paragon. Fair enough. Draw into a Maelstrom Pulse. This is non-land permanent, right? Yeah, we're still looking like we might die to a Den of the Bugbear. I guess we pulse the Welcoming Vampire. Kind of have to, I think. I still have a Wrath left for something else. Just start exiling stuff from their grave and gaining some life. Oh, no. Now we just get Planeswalkered off the top. See what they discover. How did you rediscover that? Didn't they put that on the bottom off Atali? When did they shuffle? When did they shuffle? Because they missed it on a Carnosaur Discover. Well, that's annoying. I guess they shuffled at some point, because when you miss on a Discover, it goes to the bottom of your library. Oh, they're on like a 60-card deck, too. They still have 34 cards left. Now there's an Agatha's Soul Cauldron. Okay, it doesn't do anything without other creatures on board. Kaya, non-land permanent, let's go. What a top deck. We can actually exile Quintorius with this. Once again, I'm still dying to Den of the Bugbear. It's just really hard to deal with manlands, the kind of cards you can just animate during your turn, so sorcery speed removal doesn't work against them. I've got at least 2 instant speed removal spells in here, but I think only 2. We have Trumpeting Carnosaur and Seal Away. That's it. So we have 2 instant speed removal spells to not just die to the den. Otherwise, that's going to kill us if we don't draw into Field of the Dead or Golos or Primeval Titan or Atraxa, or I guess there is a massive list of things that can just block that. We just have to top deck a threat. Boundary is not a threat. We're at 11. Den gets activated. We take 5/6 from that plus a 1/1. I'll wait 1 more turn to Wrath of God because we're not quite dead on board. But now they can just Devils play us after this attack, even if I blow everything up, including the den. Dang. Well, this is a bummer. This matchup felt super winnable, but we just couldn't find big stuff. We've got a lot in the deck. Couldn't find it. Now we are dead to Den of the Bugbear or Devil's Play, really. Suppose this food token might save us. I don't think it does, though. I'm holding on to the foundry in case we do find Field of the Dead. I've got plenty of mana. Either way. Town Razor Tyrant. Triple red, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they could have Devil's played for 5, but then I gained 3. So they couldn't have killed me this turn. Still, just activate and attack with Dead might have been better for them. I think this is slightly better for us than just taking a bunch of Den of the Bugbear damage. Gives us another little bit more breathing room, I feel. Atraxa could still get there. I think that's about the only thing now, though. Because if I get Primeval Titan and I tutor out the Field of the Dead, like, I'm still not blocking the flyer. So I just take a million and then also die to Devil's Play. But if I get Atraxa, I block the flyer, or they have to Devil's Play Atraxa. And then the turn after that, I have like a million guards. Oh, I think it's a turn too late for you, buddy. I just take 4 in the sky, and even more from Devil's Play. Yeah, they have at least lethal. That's disappointing. So close. Actually feels legitimately close. If we found our beef slightly sooner. But that's Daubers. Very dead on board. All right. 0-1 to start it off. It is, but I feel like it was a little more just some rough variance for us there with the draws in the top deck war in the end game. Less so that our deck played out super poorly. I think it was doing its thing. We had good mana. We had removal spells. Just got to draw a little better in those end games, and we've certainly got enough threats to do so in future games. So while it is a loss from the start, it does make me feel decently confident in the deck. The strategy still worked out fine, even if it was a losing battle in the end. All right. This is a pretty great start. I do have to shock myself turn 1. Which is kind of rough. I guess I could just grab a forest so that I don't have to shoot myself in the face for 3. I mean, if they play a mountain, then I won't shoot myself in the face for 3, but if they play like an island or a forest, then I will just fully shock myself. Okay, so Usher the Fallen. That's a pretty aggressive start. It feels a little bold to deal 3 to myself. But I've got the Wrath of God. I have got the Wrath of God. I mean, realistically, though, if I am taking a shock land instead of a forest, it's a black land, and I don't need black mana right now, or it's a red land, and I already have 1 red source with the mountain. Yeah, I don't actually need these secondary colors yet. So Restoration of Eiganjo grabs the second white source, so for this one, let's get the black source, I think. As more important than blue or red, generally, for our deck. And Utopia Scrawl, even if this is just tapping for colorless, we just need to ramp up here. Play Restoration turn 2. Alright, black-white aggro. 2 1-mana 2/1s from our opponent. So a pretty aggressive start there. Here's Restoration to grab a Plains. So we have double white and we have 4 mana on turn 3. So we can just insta-board wipe them if we need to. Otherwise, we've got the Sarah Paragon fetch land combo. Alright, well, that is enough to just board wipe, I think. Because that also leaves it so turn 5... So turn 5, when I... God, why can't I think right now? Turn 4, when I have 5 mana, I could play Sarah Paragon and crack the Wooded Foothills in the same turn and replay the Wooded Foothills. But I guess I forgot that the Restoration of Agonja was also going to ramp me, so I could have done that this turn too. Well, no, it ramped into a tapped land. So yeah, either way we played it, this turn we would not have had a land drop to replay land Sarah Paragon. Sanguine Evangelist, that's pretty good post-board wipe. Multiple threats. We've got the seal away for it, which makes me feel pretty happy, because that means we get to exile it instead of making it die, and they don't get the bat token. Alright, let's just get incredible mana here. So let's just grab multiple Triumphs, I'm thinking. Blue, black, green. Although, playing a Gilded Goose would be nice. Get a food token right now. So maybe Overgrown Tomb. Yeah, I did just gain 2. Sure. Gain 2, insta-spend the 2. Okay, Sarah Paragon does work like it's supposed to. The fetch land does get exiled. I think it was literally some like ruling thing with the way that it was worded that they had to change how the rules worked, because the way it was worded with the way the Magic rules were at the time, the cards didn't actually get exiled. But I guess they fixed it by now. They nerfed it to what it's supposed to do. Okay. I was not really expecting the attack here. I guess they just want another bat. I've got 2 flyers, sure, I'll do that. I get another 1/1 just for blocking here, too. Draw into a Triome. Rather just play a land from Grave for value. That actually also means I get to cycle away this Triome for value. Replay that from Grave at a later time. Send this in? Probably not. We're just chilling. Holding up a seal away, cycling a Triumph if we don't need to do it. Our opponent's still stuck on 3 mana, so it's all gas over there. All gas, no breaks. Here's Life with Shiro Umezawa, which can kill my 1/1. That's about it. Could gain them some life, or could buff their first striker. Attack with a 5/5 first strike this turn, which is basically exactly the same as just killing my 1/1. Because then I'll just trump block. Beaumont Courier, which can redraw them a hand if they find a red source to sacrifice that. Cool card. Alright. See what we find off this Triome. Extinction event. Even, odd, odd. Odd, odd. Even, even, even. Yeah, that's not doing anything right now. Deathrite Shaman's beautiful. Oh yeah, that's so much life gain. Actually kind of nuts. And I guess I just start pinging them in the sky, because now I've got plenty of life gain to just outpace them here. Even if they just didn't block there and started attacking back, they're only hitting me for 1 a turn, and I'm gaining 3 a turn off of Gilded Goose. If we have the mana up for it, then we're going to start gaining an extra 2 off of Deathrite Shaman every turn. Kill my Deathrite Shaman. Okay, well, If Sarah Paragon sticks around, I can just recast it. No attacks. Get a food. Eat some food. Got all the mana I need. I don't need to save a food. Ooh! I can do that and still have Seal Away up here? Well, that's a banger. Sure. Grab a Field of the Dead for the land. Grab a Golos or a Carnosaur for the creature. Yeesh. Grab Golos, trigger Field again. Oh, that could be the artifact, actually, instead of Portable Hole. Yeah, sure. Artifact, creature, enchantment, instant, sorcery. Oh my god. Woo! I've got to discard the hand size, though. Maybe I went a little overboard. Do I need to hold up Seal Away right now? Should I just be casting Deathrite Shaman from grave? So I'm not going to ossify anything on their board. I guess I should just be casting Deathrite here. Discard 3 cards. Okay, land. I'll keep the Field of the Dead in hand just in case Sarah Paragon dies. Discard the Once Upon a Time. Discard Lutri. No, I'll discard Extinction Event. Lutri Maelstrom Pulse is close enough to a board wipe, if we need to do that. And right now it's looking pretty unlikely that we want a board wipe because of our board state. So the board wipe would just be a backup plan if they cast their own Wrath of God and then assemble a new board afterward. Which feels pretty unlikely when we have this much stuff to overwhelm them with. Like, even if they board wipe, we're going to come ahead with the bigger board state. Alright, well, the deck is just completely popping off here. Let's go. Field of the Dead. Just jam. Atraxa's got Vigilance, so we like super jam in the sky. Got a Seal Away at instant speed, got a Carnosaur at instant speed. I can hold both up while playing Golos. Well, I can hold one or the other up. I guess because of Deathrite Shaman, it's holding both up, because I can exile my Sacred Foundry from my grave for mana if I need to. This is insane. See, this is top end. We've just hit here. Really, Atraxa just drew the rest of it. That's just Atraxa being Atraxa. Alright. They've got a Sorin, they've got a Legion's Landing. They're at 12 with no flyers on board. Got 10 damage in the sky. I can't Carnosaur their face. I can only do it to creatures or planeswalkers. So that is not a way to find lethal. Deathrite Shaman can do it, though. If we just shoot them with Deathrite Shaman twice and hit them in the sky, we win. Actually, even just once. So yeah, we just kill the flyer and we Deathrite Shaman their face, and then we attack with both our flyers. Send in the whole team, send a message, flip the Legion's Landing. That might be relevant to our opponent. I should probably just put zombies everywhere. Okay, so exile an instant or sorcery, shoot them for 2. Kill the flyer. They're dead in the sky. Alright, they don't have mana up for Settle the Wreckage, so I was just going to slam all attack. Just make sure it is overwhelmingly lethal, and we are now 1-1 heading into game number 3. This is a fantastic hand. Knight of the Reliquary and Golos to find field. Sarah Paragon with the fetch land. Our opponent's on the play again, I think. So our lack of a board wipe could be an issue if they're aggressive. That would be my main fear. If they're controlling, that could be a problem too. If they have a lot of counter spells, they just like counter Golos and stuff like that. Things could get rough. Alright. Not aggressive, they just play a forest and pass, so I'm just going to get a Triome here. I've already got one white source. I do need a second for Sarah Paragon, so we'll grab a Triome that involves white. We can grab green, blue, white, blue, red, white. Blue, black, green. I think we go blue, black, green, because this is a blue source. Well, no, I need the white source more because of because of Sarah Paragon before Kaya. Okay, so it's headquarters or Rogren Triome. Grab the headquarters, get a second green source. That could be relevant. Don't generally need the red till a lot later with just the big dinosaur, pretty much. Alright, only one thing I can do this turn, so let's get the human. Courser of Crewfix, turn 3 from our opponent. Turn 3 from us, we can play the Knight or the Love-Struck Beast. Again, I don't really need to tutor for Field of the Dead till I have 7 lands, so I'm actually going to go Love-Struck Beast here into Sarah Paragon and go for beef, go for damage here. Start attacking with a 5/5. Oh, Courser makes them play with the top revealed, so I should have paid attention. They've got a fight with fire on top, so they have red in their deck. They can also play lands from the top, which I think they just did. They played a plains, and then they've still got a forest on top. Bloodstained Mire. Well, pretty cute with Sarah Paragon. I like having the double up here. Let's see if we get them to spend any removal on this beast, or we just get to slam in for 5. Either's pretty decent. Cool. Actually, just Sarah Paragon here. No Bloodstained Mire, because I kind of want a Mire for a Triome, so I'm going to be getting a tap land the turn I play that, potentially. Although, since I do get to double up the Mire if they don't kill Sarah Paragon, it might be fine to go for it right now. Okay, so here we should do the Heath from Grave and grab an untapped source. Just use the Sarah Paragon as long as it's around. Although I do need a black source, because I think I need to just kill Lyra over casting Golos. Yeah, lose a little bit of Sarah Paragon value, because I don't think I can get an untapped black source. Oh wait, I can. I've got Undergrown Tomb, or Overgrown Tomb. I've got green-black. Yeah, I actually do have green-black. So we grab the green-black Shock to play Kaya, to get rid of Lyra and keep the pressure on. That looks pretty good. And next turn, Golos can pull out the Field of the Dead, and then I can Bloodstained Mire after the Field of the Dead and trigger it twice. This is incredible. Take action. There's Field. Here's Bloodstained Mire. Here's a crack for a Triome. At this point, doesn't really matter. We're doing excellently on mana. We'll put a Ghost Form counter on the Paragon, so we still have a good flying threat, even if they kill it. Goes right back to my hand, and I recast it. They are down to 1. See if they can get out of this one. They're just drawing a bunch of beefy threats. Koglan, Yadaro, and Eleshnorn. They don't have the mana for either yet. It's a Voracious, or a Verdurous Gearhulk on top. I once again just got so overly excited about what was happening with my deck that I just stopped paying attention to the top of their library. I'm sure it'll be fine. And it looks pretty fine to me. So older Raven Guard. Give the Courser double teams. They can attack and cast another Courser. Alright, well this looks pretty lethal, so let's just do that. They don't have Settle the Wreckage mana up, so just boop. At this point, we probably are supposed to send in the human as well. Because it doesn't really matter if Lovestruck Beast can't attack on future turns, because they're very dead on this one. We are now 2-1. That was probably the most explosive our deck can get, and probably the least explosive our opponent's deck can get, I imagine. They just really did not hit early plays at all. They hit a bunch of stuff that was just too expensive by the time they died, and really missed out on the red sources too, so that was a pretty big bummer for our opponent, but solid stuff from our deck at least, and we are 2-1 heading into Game 4. Here we are on the play for Game 4. We got Utopia Sprawl ramping towards a Primeval Titan, which is pretty wild. Keep the hand here. I don't know what color I'm supposed to choose off Utopia, because I've got double green, I've got the black, I've got the white. I guess I go blue or red. I'll just go blue here. I don't know. Feels weird. Maybe I'm supposed to get another white source in case we draw one of our double white spells like Sarah Paragon again. Both of us on Loot Tree here. Forsaken Crossroads on red from our opponent. They are going to keep it tapped and do the Scry. I totally forgot. I just ramped up, so we should play Restoration of Agonjo here. Looks pretty good that I did not pick white, because we get a second plains anyway. I almost played an Overgrown Tomb tapped. That would have been so embarrassing. Aww. Oh wait, this isn't, enters tapped unless you control 2 or few other lands? Oh, well it is going to enter tapped either way, because I'm going to put a third land out to Restoration, so might as well do that then as the tap land. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. I guess it doesn't matter. We only need 3 mana to put Lutri in hand, so. Play a tap land and put the Lutri in hand. We do have 2 plains right now, so we're not going to hit Field of the Dead until we have 8 lands on board. What does this do? Whenever a land enters the battlefield, get a mana of any color. If it's the second time a land's entered the battlefield, they can reveal cards till they hit an elf or an elemental and draw it. So if they play a fetch land, they get really good value. Well, I can cast a Kaya and a Gilded Goose instead of Primeval here. I don't hate that. Nissa is a little threatening. Captivating Crossroads on red. They've got both, the Captivating Crossroads and the Forsaken Crossroads. Brotherhood's End. Goodbye, Kaya. Goodbye, Gilded Goose. That's a sad one there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th land type. Primeval finds 6 and 7. Which would give me a double trigger if I Primeval after playing the Triumph. So we play the Triumph, then we Primeval and double trigger Field of the Dead. Because it sees itself and the 7th land hit the board. And we go zombie, zombie. And we turn Primeval Titan into just a better Grave Titan. It gives us the 2/2/2 zombies and 2 lands. One of which is a Bloodstained Mire to get another 2/2 zombie next turn. There's a Terror of the Peaks, but if they don't have an additional board wipe, this game looks incredibly over. Oh, I maybe should have blitzed the War Chief out, actually. That might have just been, like, lethal here. I kind of forgot that it has that secondary effect. We've got another fetch in here. Oh, yeah, we got 2 more fetches? Let's go. Yeah, we probably would have just killed them if we had blitzed the War Chief for haste. I just forgot that it could do that. Just been treating it like Thragtusk, basically, where it's just a solid value play. but it's a blitzer as well. Okay, well, I think I'm just gonna keep it in case of board wipe. Like, I'm gonna keep the fetches all in case of board wipe, and we've got a blitzer in case of board wipe. So now there's basically nothing they can do to get out of this, because they can't really board wipe and blow up a Field of the Dead. And they can't really board wipe and have the mana up to stop a 5/3 haste, so this way, if they wipe the board, I still get another zombie from Bloodstained Mire during their end step, then blitz out a 5-power creature, and I still hit them for 7 damage next turn. And on the plus side, it looks like it was not lethal. We didn't miss lethal. We would have hit them to 1 life had I blitzed the War Chief out here. Blood Braid Elf, that's a great one. Really good with Terror of the Peaks as well, because it could hit another creature, and it does. So they've got a little machine gun going where Terror of the Peaks is going to shoot every time they play a card. So the Curator's going to shoot one of our 1/1s. The Blood Braid's going to shoot a 2/2 zombie. But they've only got 1 mana up. I think they're still practically dead on board. But definitely dead if I make another zombie in a Lutri and blitz out a War Chief. Unless they put actual factual Fog into the cube, but I don't even think Fog's on Arena. 1 green mana, prevent all combat damage this turn. I think Fog's too old. I don't know when the last reprint was, like M12 or something. It's been a while. Alright, I'm going to make the board state wider. Since they only have 1 mana up here, I'm going all in, trying to hit lethal this turn. Alright, there's the concession. It is definitely lethal. Math is for blockers, and they saw the writing on the wall. So we are now 3-1, guaranteed at least a 50-50 run with this deck, but it's been a pretty sweet one. It's been a pretty fun one, so hopefully we can do at least a bit better than that, just so we can play some more games with it. So we'll see how it all continues for us as we head into game number 5. Alright, another absolute banger of a hand. This has very little cheap interaction, but the matchups we've been getting in, that's been fine. If our opponent's an aggro deck on the play, we'll probably just die, but if it's another slower, mid-rangey kind of matchup, the hand is very explosive when we hit turn 4, 5, and onward. Alright, it's just the Forest turn 1. So far, so good. Green-red, though. Red being the most aggressive color in the cube, and Quarian Beastcaller, pretty aggressive creature. Gives them a +1/+1 counter every time they cast a creature. And when it dies, they move all the counters around, so that's going to be real aggressive. We have drawn into a Wrath of God, which is very helpful. Very, very helpful. Makes me feel all safe and comfy. We're definitely going to cycle a Triumph turn 3, because then we can either exile it to a Deathrite Shaman or recast it to a Serra Paragon later. So either way is pretty good value. And they are getting an aggressive enough curve here. We'll probably need to Wrath of God, so it's likely we're just going to be recasting the Triumph from our grave to the Paragon. Or replaying the Triumph from our grave to the Paragon later. I'll Trump block next turn, because the Beastcaller is going to be even bigger if they play another creature, so we stop more damage by stopping next turn than now. Again, not playing the Triumph, because I am going to cycle it here. Turn 5, we can play Serra Paragon and replay the Triumph from grave. If we don't draw into a land. If we do draw into a land, then we'll obviously just play Golos. Okay, and I need to Wrath of God now. This doesn't do anything when it dies, right? Nope. But it has drawn them 2 forests, even if I kill it, so it's gotten them value regardless. Trumpeting Carnosaur's the draw. Not a bad one. We did hit a 5th land, that's beautiful. So I can play Golos next turn no matter what. I don't know what I'm threatening to cast here, but it's a free point of damage if they don't block, so I'll take the free point of damage. Like, yeah, I guess I was threatening, like, fight with fire for 5 damage to Vorinclex post-combat. I don't know. It's not up to me to decide when I'm bluffing there, because it's a free bluff. Might as well. Ooh, that's beefy. That's a problem, because it's exactly big enough to beat Sarah Paragon in a fight, and it's exactly big enough to not die to Trumpeting Carnosaur. That's a huge problem. Down to 12 now. I probably have to Golos. Oh boy. I guess I could go Sarah Paragon plus Deathrite. Try to have a little life gain engine on board. That's also reasonable. Because even if I get more mana by playing Golos, and I get the Field of the Dead, like even if it starts activating, it's not going to defend me against a Shivan Devastator, but Sarah Paragon might. I could block and Trumpeting Carnosaur to get rid of the flyer. Alright, well, not if it fights here. That is bad. Might just die to a flyer. We've got a lot more interaction we can draw into. We've got a giant Atraxa we can draw into, but it's all dependent on if we draw into it. Boseju's actually main deck interaction against Field of the Dead. They can blow up a Field of the Dead with that thing, so that's kind of funny. Utopia Sprawl is not an Atraxa. Guess we block all this damage on the ground at least. Golos for field, play a Sacred Foundry, and then I've got a 2/2 on the ground as well. And I suppose I might as well Utopia Sprawl, it's basically free. I spend 1 for it and then it gives me the 1 mana back. I've got black, I've got blue, I've got white, red. I do need a second red for Carnosaur, but I've got Sacred Foundry for that, so yeah, I guess I just get another green. Okay, so we Golos for land 6 and then play Sacred Foundry, and then they probably Boseiju the Golos, but at least I block with the zombie it makes, and I've got a ton of mana to play with next turn if I do draw into Atraxa, which is like my only out. Alright. Got 1 Atraxa to draw into, and a Dream. Warchief gains a little bit of life. Again, not enough to not die to Devastator. They don't Boseiju the Golos. I don't know how excited I should be about that. That might mean they're about to just kill us anyway, or they might just blow it up with something else. Yeah, they could have blown up our Golos or our Field of the Dead with Boseju's channel ability. So they're either confident they don't need to, or they just like really need the mana. I guess if they Boseiju Golos, I get another land and field triggers again anyway. But if they Boseiju field, I don't get another trigger, obviously, because they'd be dead. Probably trying to math out lethal here. Does not look good for our heroes today. Does not look good for Golos. Or the Golos field deck this time around. Does the Golos field deck ever actually count as the heroes? Imagine it is. Oh. I don't know why it took them so long to realize that 6 more damage is lethal here, but there you go. That is lethal. Okay. Yeah, they didn't even need to attack with anybody else. Alright, well, really disappointing ending. Think Tank into just +6/+0? It's like, yeah, you do got it. Alright. 3-2, heading into a game number 6. Alright, here we are on the play for game 6. Utopia Sprawl for the white source and just go to town. So plan, it's only got 3 mana in the hand, which is enough for everything but Golos. So it's not that low on mana. If they somehow have land destruction and blow up this overgrown tomb, that'd be so bad for us, but that doesn't really exist on Arena, luckily. We are really all in on the overgrown tomb. Alright, so here, turn 2. I could just play Lovestruck Beast and just get blocking, but I think I play the Knight even though I'm not sacking anything to it yet, because that also blocks Inspector. This can only sacrifice forests or plains, which is why it's a little bit of a nombo with the Overgrown Tomb. Or with the Utopia Sprawl, because the Utopia Sprawl only goes on forests. So we don't have an expendable land for the Knight of the Reliquary right now. Thalia's pretty annoying. So now if I want to get my 1/1, it costs 2 mana, so I can't get the 1/1 and play the beast, but I guess I only had 1 green source anyway. Could hold up Seal Away for Thalia. It's probably where it's at. Like, I am threatening to also block Thalia with the Knight and then sack a land to make it a 3/3, but again, I would have to sacrifice my Utopia Sprawled land, so I really don't want to do that. I would much rather just seal away Thalia. Maybe just play a 5/5 as a defender is the better play as well. Because they look like mono-white aggro here, and if we just make the game take long, we should be very favored with a Golos in hand already. But I guess we make the game take long with Seal Away or Lovestruck Beast. The Seal Away, though, means we don't have it for a flying threat later, and we saw how badly that turned out for us last game, so... all in all things considered, it was probably better to just run out the defender. Just a 5/5. Alright, no land here. RIP, Sadness on the stack. Well... now I'm just going to run out a 5/5 defender, because it's between that or holding up 3 damage removal. At least this time I'll save the 3 damage removal for a potential flyer. Although they do have a card to give indestructible. So Seal Away would have been way better to have for later. I'm just 1 land from greatness. Skyclave Apparition. Goodbye, Lovestruck Beast. I guess they could kill Knight of the Reliquary, but I care a lot more about attacking. Oh, it's any non-land card. So they can get Seal Away also. Well, that's rude. At least I'm not trying to cast any non-creatures right now. Alright, that's kind of my 1 land. Pretty awkward I have to tap the Utopia Sprawl land so I don't have Carnosaur up alongside this. I guess I could just cash it in immediately then in that case. If I really want to get the mana investment. And then I get a 2/2 to block with by blowing up Apparition. Yeah, sure, this is kind of a brick wall. No, unless they sack the Savior. But then we get the Savior out of the way. That's fair. That is fair. They are on Boros, not mono white, so they could have some red burn spells. Kind of hard to kill a 5/5 still for red. Actually, the white spells would have a much easier time. History of Manalia, so we're gonna get a bunch of knights. Thalia Knight, Soldier. Alright, good. So they're only gonna give the knight tokens +2/+1 on chapter 3. There we go. Triome has arrived, so I can play a Triome and I can goose out the Golos in the same turn. Definitely feels like the play. Golos finds land number 5. Feels like I'm still supposed to grab Field of the Dead, even though it's only land number 5, because I've got green, white, green, blue, black, black, red. Got pretty good mana already. Need 7 mana to use Golos. I have 6 right now. If I top deck a land, I can try to cast something off the top 3. Otherwise, we just cast a War Chief. I don't want to start popping lands tonight of the Reliquary till I have 7 on board. Ooh. Blow up my Lovestruck Beast and put a counter on their whole board? That's pretty nasty. Luckily, Golos cannot die to collective effort and is a big enough blocker to stop all that nonsense. Okay, this stuff's getting big enough. I think I need to just make Knight of the Reliquary bigger. I do need that pretty badly. I'm gonna sack Zagoth try. I'm gonna make this a 3/3 so I can make it a 4/4 whenever I need. And I'm gonna go for... I could go for a fetch land into a Triome. But then be tapped. I want it untapped next turn. Yeah, let's just grab a Triome. Do this one. Cool. We hit the mana. We can go for a Golos spin. I think that's the play. Because it could be anything. It could even be a boat. Gotta do it sorcery speed though, right? With the way it's worded, I think. It doesn't ignore timing restrictions. Oh no! We get Thaliad? Oh, no creatures, so we just get Thaliad. I forgot that Thalia is that rude. Well, that blows. That blows. Should have just played War Chief. If I remembered Thalia was going to tax stuff, then I would have remembered there's a chance that we just get blown out by Thalia and we don't hit any creatures off Golos, and we hit that chance. Get blown out by Thalia, no creatures. Alright, block Thalia with a 4/4, block Apparition with a Golos. Take a chunk of damage here. See what tricks they've got. Grab a non-fetchable land. Botanical Sanctum. I'm just going to grab something I can sack tonight again. Or grab a forest. Fetch land be fine. Alright, even if I grabbed a fetch land, Knight was about to die here. That's fair. Alright, well, took a big hit, but I've got blockers now. An ossification for the Thalia, because she's rude. I don't have the mana up for that alongside War Chief, though. Because Thalia's taxing it. Kind of think I have to just play the War Chief and gain some life here. And I get a food off of the goose for later. They could start killing me with Cave of the Frost Dragon. That turns into a flying vigilant creature. Could just die to a land again. Oh, okay. I could also die to that. Now I'll have to ossify that. Hello. Odd, odd, odd. Ah, their AO is odd, though. Everything else they have is even. I mean, Inspector isn't, but... So Extinction Event is nice for the future. Not right now, though, because I really need to kill the flyer. Oh, I guess I can do both. If I sacrifice my food. Yeah, try to flip this around and become the aggressive player. Sure. Now we try to outrace the Cave of the Frost Dragon. If I have nothing else to do, I can just spend 4 mana turn on Goose, make a food, eat the food, and that completely nullifies the 3 damage a turn. So we just maintain our life total while hitting them for 5 a turn until we kill them. Hollowed Fountain's a pretty beautiful draw, because now I can attack with Golos as well and still have a blocker on the ground. So speed up the clock here. Yeah, make a food, eat a food is going to be the play. Actually, I have exactly enough to also put Lutri in hand, so I should have done that. A lot of sloppy stuff. You're going to see that a lot in Cube. There's so many decisions at so many points. So many spinning wheels to keep track of. Yeah, they got to do some digging here, sack the clue. They see that they are not outracing us at this rate. Robber of the Rich is a pretty terrifying draw. Hasty creature here. Huh. So they can make a 1/1 lifelink to block with a Danto to not die. Don't know if I'm supposed to chump with Goose or not. I don't think I am. I'm gonna do this here. Could use Golos, but I can't cast sorceries with Golos during their turn. Because it just says I can play them till the end of turn. There's some cards like Golos that just say you may cast them, period, which means you may cast them right now. So even sorceries you could do. Oh, Evangelist is such a great draw, multiple creatures. Can I Golos spin and still make and eat a food? No, but I kind of think I need more gas here. Now, yeah, probably better than gaining 3 on average. It's a little better than gaining 3. Not monumentally, we didn't hit like a Traxa or something incredible. Okay. Alright, they're going to make sure they've got 2 bats, but I've got 2 flyers to block with. Light up the stage, do some digging, find land. Absolute blowout for our opponent. Rough, light up the stage in the end. So we do get there with some solid luck. I'd like to say with some solid plays as well, but it's been pretty loose today. There's too many options. We are now 4-2, guaranteed to be at a positive win rate, winning more games than we lost today. Absolutely will take that, but if we can win at least one more game, that is the break-even point for Arena Cubes, where you get all the gold you spent back out of the event and some rares as extra rewards. So see if we can't get at least one more win here as we head into game number 7. Here we are now for game 7. This hand looks really good because it's all just cheap interaction, cheap mana ramp. We don't have our finishers at all yet, but that's not what you need in your openers. You need to make sure you can stick around and stay alive to get to those big finishers. Alright, get that Ornithopter of Paradise out here. Playing against the black-white deck again. Turn 3 Thalia. It's not the more annoying one. Actually, it is. For us, it is. Our non-basics come into play tapped now, so our fetch lands hit the board tapped. That is really annoying. Portable Hole's only 2 or less. Seal Away's only tapped. I think we Restoration here then. Seal Away it next turn or get ready for a Wrath of God later. Yeah, I don't need to play an untapped land right now, so we'll play a fetch tapped, which is so sad. Dang, the creatures too, so we don't get to block well here. Might even have to fetch for a basic. Said I have 5 mana for Kaya next turn. Kaya away the Thalia. Ooh, boy. Certainly tempted to Wrath now. Adeline's an incredible card. Thalia's an incredible card. Both of them together? Horrifying. I think I Wrath here and then try to control the rest with 1-for-1 removal. So we need a basic. I've got a red source off Rogren Triumph, so we grab a forest and Wrath it. Wrath it up. Ranger of Eos. Well, that is a great post-Wrath card. That's 3 more threats. They've got a 3/2 on the board and 2 1-mana creatures to cast now. One of which is Mikaeus, because that is technically 1 mana, because it's an X-mana spell. So now they've got a massive threat too and Giver Runes to protect everybody. Well, that's rough. At least we can Portable Hole Mikaeus, and now we've got a finisher with Attract, so once we hit 7 mana, we're at 6 now, so we just need to draw 1 more land, really. I need to find a black source to play Kaya right now. I think Kaya is the best play for the turn, and then we just plus here. So let's grab the Overgrown Tomb, let's pay the life, let's cast the Kaya. Plus on the Architect.
I just want to get in, get out, and finish the job. Well, you're not lacking for spirit.
So I don't really want to minus a 3/2. It might still be better because they could just have a 1-for-1 removal spell to kill Kaya anyway. In which case it would have been better to kill something with her before she died. Looks like they don't though. Well, maybe. Do it during our upkeep. They put a stop here for some reason. Yeah, they're going to destroy her during the upkeep. Not sure why they want to do it specifically during our upkeep instead of just their turn. I don't know, there's probably a reason. I don't play enough Constructed to know really specific timing things like that. I'm a limited player. We don't really need to do those upkeep stops very often. Well, I have to Portable Hole the Giver of Runes now in order to actually kill the Mikaeus. So I guess we do that. Unless they double block here, actually. That's possible. I don't think it'd be good for our opponent, though, because then we get the Architect back to our hand and kill the Giver. Yeah, they don't double block. Portable Hole. Boop. Cerise. They get to draw cards with mana value less than or equal to the life they gained each turn, so they can draw a lot of cards. Well, speaking of drawing a lot of cards, I'm pretty into that too, opponent. Woo! I will draw... No Field of the Dead? Well, Prime Time will find it. So let's get Primeval. Let's get Maelstrom Pulse as the sorcery. There's only one instant here, so we pick that one. There's only one enchantment. There's only one artifact. And the best land is going to be the Shock Land. Whee! Actually, I guess I could have gotten a green source for Death, right? That would have been better. I was wrong. I lied about the best land. Probably ditch the Iron Crag. Because Lutri Maelstrom Pulse is kind of sick. Yeah. Virtue of Loyalty, just buff the board every turn. Fair. It's pretty good for us. Means we're guaranteed to get... Ooh. One giant attracts a swing in. And I can just ossify or seal away their one important threat. Guess I'll ossify it to save the instant speed stuff. Yeah, they're just going to concede. This is pretty nuts here. We've got a full grip, an active Field of the Dead with a Primeval Titan as a follow-up. The Primeval Titan can find a fetch land or two here for later. So even if we get board wiped, we can crack into getting some zombies. We've got a Maelstrom Pulse revealed to them with the Lutris. They know we have 2 more removal spells ready that can destroy any non-land permanent. Pretty nasty stuff there. Huge, huge, huge work from Atraxa yet again. And we are now 5-2. Not only guaranteed a pretty positive win rate out of the draft, but guaranteed we're getting all of our money back and a few random rare rewards. So super sweet draft today. See if we can't keep it up as we head into round number 8. All right, here we are for round 8. We got that 0 mana Once Upon a Time. It's just irresistible. All right. I'm probably going to cast Deathrite turn 1, so we do cast this before that, so that it is free. Ooh, Prime Time! I don't think I need Goose to ramp up here, because I'm also going to Wrath, so I'm just going to Wrath my own mana dorks. 1 is enough. Well, Deathrite isn't really a mana dork without fetches, but I think the thing that this hand is somewhat lacking is like a really big finisher, so we'll just take that. Edict my Deathrite Shaman, that's fine. That is A-okay. Drop a Headquarters, then drop a Triome. Drop a Sarah Paragon turn 4. Might wait till turn 5 so I could also recast Deathrite the turn that I cast the Paragon. Especially because I could end up just Wrath of Godding turn 4. They play another good threat alongside the Aether Channel, or 2 for 1's fine here. Yeah, that's a pretty good threat. Draws them extra cards too. So now I can Wrath, and then Golos the turn after for the field, and then Primeval the turn after Golos, which is wild. So Wrath into Golos for field into Primeval Titan. There's a Teferi, which is annoying, but kind of fine for the stuff I'm going to be doing here. Can't bounce a land, right? Yeah, non-land permanent gets bounced by Teferi. That's it. I guess it does untap the mana to maybe have a counterspell up here. Please don't. Okay, no counterspell. Let's go. Grab the field. I get 1 zombie next turn, no matter what. And we just try to win with a Field of the Dead, which should be hard for an Esper control deck to interact with. Ledger Shredder is the play. 4 mana up, and they're not going to cast anything else. So they're just going to hold all the mana up here, so quite likely to have a Dismiss or some kind of counter spell. Might be worth it to just try to cast 3 spells for free then, and be like, alright, well, stop all whatever I can off the top. Oh, I played the wrong land. I don't have a black source yet. I needed to Overgrown Tomb to do that. Well, oops. So I don't play Primeval Titan right now, then I go Paragon plus Goose. Man, I really should have played Overgrown Tomb. I was too excited about this mana base. I was like, it's definitely good, right? Nope, didn't have the black source yet. These are both non-black triomes. Ah, that is such a bummer. I feel like just spinning the wheel with Golos is the best play against our opponent, just holding infinite mana up. Oh my god, yeah, this would have been so much better against Sublime Epiphany. Now they get to connive. Maybe it's best to just not even play a card there, just so they don't get the Ledger Shreds. Connives. Why didn't this one get to do it? Oh, it did. It just discarded a land. Never mind. Disregard me. Well, I don't think I've ever won against Sublime Epiphany or lost when I've cast it, so maybe there's a first time for everything here. Because that wasn't the biggest blowout Sublime Epiphany I've ever seen. It certainly wasn't good. The problem is our opponent's deck is literally all flyers, which is like the main way we've lost our other 2 losses. You just keep dying to flyers. That's like 9 power in the sky right now. 11 power in the sky, actually. Yeah, we're just gonna die to flyers if we don't find Extinction Event. Extinction Event is pretty dang good on this board, though. That is not Extinction Event. There's 2 zombies. Probably I'm on Golos rather than Primeval Titan because I can spin the Golos wheel next turn. Low enough on life, I'm gonna grab a Triome here. Then I can play the Wooded Foothills for double zombie if I need to, but now I've got a black source without shocking for an untapped black source next turn. Got literally 1 turn to deal with 1,000 flyers, or this run is over. And now I need to chip it to Fairy as well, or the emblem is going to destroy me. $11 damage. I really can't let them Thief of Sanity me, though. Maybe I can, but I'm not going to. Well, now I've got to top deck the Extinction Event naturally. because Golos is gone. And we didn't find it, so we're dead, right? We're at 6 life, basically. This just grabs the planes, this just gets more zombies. Alright, well, bummer. Looking like our deck's biggest weakness is just flyers in general. Field of the Dead can't do much against those. We've got the double board wipe, but kind of had to spend one earlier here. R.I.P. Oh, Atraxa would have still been a potential out here, too. But we just can't stop all that flying damage, and it is going to be 5 and 3 for today's run. I'm just going to scoop here. One last look at the deck before we log off for today. Had a ton of fun with this one. If I were going to draft this kind of archetype again in the future, what would I do differently here? Probably try to have a little bit more interaction, like a third board wipe would have went a long way. The board wipe, the Wrath of God really was incredible every single game that we had it. Wasn't overly impressed by the Iron Crag whenever we found it, but we kept finding it when we really had like 7 or 8 mana, so that's kind of awkward. I think basically everything else in the deck I was perfectly impressed by. I guess Watley didn't do much. Carnosaur is fine. Early removal or the top end like we imagined. It was fine. It gave us another piece of interaction here, which was solid, but yeah, I really don't hate this deck. I think it's perfectly fine, perfectly reasonable. A little weak to flyers, which was a pretty big bummer in a few of those games, but overall, really, really fun time. It was really cool to have Golos and Primeval Titan and Knight of the Reliquary to be able to tutor out the Field of the Dead. And there were just so many choices in all these games, as usual in Cube, because there's so many powerful cards with a million lines of text, that I am confident there were many, many plays today that could have been done better, and probably even some losses that could have been some more wins, maybe take this all the way to a potential 7-win run, but still perfectly happy with a 5-3. Nice break-even run with a very, very fun deck. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video and are interested in seeing more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.